Hi, welcome back, Kingsley, our Spanish expert. So, um, talk to me. I'll explain this week and the going on at FC Barcelona. What's happened at Barcelona this week? It's not. I think in terms of a lot of clubs have been busy this transfer window. I think for different reasons. Like clubs are making moves to sell players, get players in. But I think with Barca, it's like a telenovela at Barca. It's a soap opera about Barca. It's a very it's like a play in different stages. Is it a comedy? Is it a tragedy? But it's definitely dramatic. For but so talk to me. How's this week been at Barca?
To be very fun, to be very honest, it's been a frantic week. It's one of those times when I can't wait for the season to start because a lot of the joy comes on the pitch, not of it as a Barcelona fan. But the reality is this: it's not gonna go away. Maybe another year or two before Barca will be out of this financial mess and the lack of transparency from the leadership. And I feel the need to call out the president and all of those that are at the helm of affairs, starting with the director of sports or whatever it is that Deco functions as in the club. It's just very uh, it's very confusing to keep it in a very mild language because first of all, you hear we're not done signing, and then we hear a bunch of we're done signing, and then the next thing we hear this is the squad that is ready to go into to the season, and boom, a couple of hours later, best centre back or one of the best centre back concludes the deal without speculations within 24 hours, just right before there was a stripping off of captains in handband from the captain of last season, and then one of the defenders that if you ask majority of Barca's fans who would you be ready to part with, automatically would assume the position of the captain next season. So it's just a roller coaster of emotions. And then I'll break it down a little bit more for those who have not followed the news closely. Starting with
Please, please do, please
starting
do,
with
because
starting with the build up, right? So at some point we had Laporta come out to say, "Oh, Barca is returning to one rule," and what that means is that we can spend as much as we earn, and we can just do things like every other normal club does. I mean, look at Atletico Madrid signing seven, eight, what number of players. Just look at Chelsea having two teams that they've bought outright in the last 2 years. And then we look at even the United who finished 16th
get get your money
Premier.
up. Get your money
Yeah,
up. That's
I
all I'll
mean,
say.
I mean, so it's just very frustrating to look at it from a fan standpoint. I mean, going out of last season, we only had one significant signing in Daniel Mo, and that was about it for in terms of money transfer.
Yeah, that's
Shaking
that's
hands,
that's
that was
yeah,
about it, right?
that,
And
yeah.
then we go into the season and we don't even have an appetite of spending big. Our biggest transfer this season has been the addition of Juan Garcia, a goalkeeper that we concluded the transfer for by paying his release clause outrightly at around 25 million euros. That is our biggest signing. And this is a club that was flirting with a player that was going to cost about 60, 70 million euros. And all of a sudden, you cannot even register three players who are not on astronomical wages. I mean, you can argue that Rashford is still a bit high, but it's not an astronomical wage. And then you look at
Yeah.
if what is rumored are actually true, and then you look at the fact that a certain player in the captain, the goalkeeper, needs to be deregistered to make the registration of these other players easier. And that is a burden for any individual, let alone a professional footballer, to carry on, knowing that the dependency of other footballers to do their job is somehow trickled down to your activity, either in form of sending your medical reports or whatever the case might be. So, in my opinion, Barcelona board has not been very transparent with their dealings to us as fans, to the footballing world as well. And then you can imagine how it feels to the actual professionals in themselves who are involved in this negotiation, who have been liaising with these people firsthand. And again, a lot of things could have been handled properly. So if rumors are true, again, I'm using the word rumor, a big caveat here. Towards the end of last season, the coach had communicated to Ter Stegen. that I do not count on you as
Oh,
the number
okay,
one.
okay, okay. Just sorry before you go on. I think I have to ask this question before you go on. Can Barca afford the light bill at the stadium this month?
So I would have to defer that to the director of finance.
Okay, okay, okay,
But given my grown interest in accounting, or module that I didn't care too much for, I would say that even that is not a guarantee.
okay, okay,
Because
okay,
they said to us at some point in the season, your stadium is going to be back, I bet not at full capacity, at a certain level of capacity. All our first three league games are going to be played away from home in a
okay.
negotiation to beat time.
And of course that gives you a competitive disadvantage because obviously you like to play more games at home than away from home at the start of the season.
Yeah,
So, but Barca definitely playing in the new Camp Nou this season. It's just a
no,
matter of time.
no, it's not. There's nothing definite at this time. As a matter of fact, they've been a letter to the council to get approval whether or not they are allowed to play in with that level of construction work still going on.
Yeah, okay, correct.
Remember there were assurances coming from the president in Joan Laporta that certain quarter of the contract contained that if the construction team were not able to meet certain quarter of the development of the stadium, there'll be
Yeah,
financial consequences to that. That has gone away. Nobody's hearing about the financial penalties for not meeting that. Rather, we are having discussions around getting to the authorities to authorize the use of the stadium at a certain level, while they're still trying to keep some contract conversation going on at the Montjuic Stadium. So if I were to answer that question, if there's still ongoing negotiation to extend the contract at the Montjuic Stadium to play there next season, then I don't think the camp will be ready at the time it was spoken about. Maybe at some point in January, maybe at some point after the first half of the season, I'm not sure. But it's just very frustrating to not be able to hold onto the word of the president of a club of that
yeah.
magnitude going forward.
And another serious question before we get back to the players and the situation. When is Laporta's re-election or the Barcelona presidency? When is the re-election coming up soon? Or is there a chance that he might actually get voted out? Because this is getting to a point where, like you said, there's no transparency between the board and the directors. There's no vision in terms of how the club is moving forward, even in the short term. You don't know where your home games are going to be played. There's no guarantee if this is done. The stadium, the business with the stadium, the player registration, and this whole mess that we'll talk about soon with Ter Stegen. Do you think it can put his tenureship in jeopardy going forward? And that's
Um,
Laporta.
Yeah, I think this whole thing putting Laporta's tenureship in jeopardy next season could I mean, first of all, the election time, if my facts are correct, please do not quote me on this. I think it should happen sometime after the transfer window next season, right? Or around that time. So I think given the fact that most footballing fans have very short-term memory, if the club performs as well as it does this last season and we have trophies in the cabinet, and then he's able to bring in a key signing into the into the club, then some of these things might just go away. I know that there's been efforts towards signing a mega contract with Nike. There's also an effort gone in towards signing a contract, a sponsorship contract with I think it's DRP Congo. In terms of yeah, I've heard those kind of sponsorship deals fly left, right, center. I pretty much the jersey is gonna be a sticker of logos very soon. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just very funny what it's gonna look like. You're gonna have a different one on the left and another one on the right. There's something crested in the middle of the chest. There's another one going in the base of the shirt. It's just pretty much very soon. It's gonna look like
Yeah.
a motorbike. It's gonna look like a motorbike kit. So
And again, I think just because from the outside looking in, because you expect like that, you see different clubs trying to do different things to get money to the club. Like sometimes some clubs even they'll sell the naming rights to their stadium to like an Emirates, like Arsenal Emirates Stadium. They sponsor.
they've sold that already. They've sold that. We caught Spotify company for a reason. That's been sold.
Oh,
They've maxed that already.
So okay,
We've
because
activated about 3 or 4 levelers in the last 2, 3 years. It's been sold. Everything is maxed out. VIP seats have been sold in advance to another agency that is supposed to coordinate the sales of the VIP. It's just all manner of. I mean, it's a very hard pill to
you
swallow as
know
a Barca fan.
you, there's this thing where like when we're obviously younger and when we're still in school, just making our way. And like I know like I think most people can relate to this situation when you've got to a point where you are you're red. There's no money coming in. And you know it gets like when it's when you're that desperate, like you know what, you look around like, you know what, I might have to sell my PlayStation because I think we all have PlayStations then. So
Yeah.
when you get to that point when you have to sell that PlayStation or the TV, because obviously you're not going to get good money for it. But that's how desperate you are for anything. So I think it's safe to say Barca are already they're already there
I'll tell you we are
or
there,
they'll
and
get.
I'll tell you we are there, and we're not selling the PlayStation as a whole. What we're saying, we'll sell the right joypad one to one person.
Oh,
We'll
okay,
we'll sell the AV cord to another one. We'll sell the charging docket to
okay.
another one, and then eventually we hope that we'll sell whatever is left of that console. We are red financially, and
Mm,
the leadership are not being transparent about it. And the funny
yeah.
thing is this: they're embarrassing the fans. They're raising people's hopes up. Like, think about it. If you're trying so hard and getting yourself in a conversation where people almost believe that you've signed Nico William and he had to pay ridiculous of 70 something million, then how are you in a conversation right now, where you can't even register the players that you got for significantly lesser, significant. So the whole of the 70 something or 50 something or whatever the amount it is with Nico Williams, it has not been spent, right? And then now you're having players like Inigo Martinez, which again I would say arguably, if not the best central back we had last season, it should be one of them. It should be top two, and he's had to leave the club just to
On
free
a
up
free
wages. Yeah, to leave the club
on
on
a
a
free.
free
uh,
to every destination in the world, to Saudi. Saudi is giving money out to get Darwin Nunes.
I think Barca are probably the only club in football right now that have not managed to get any significant fee or anything tangible from a Saudi club for one of their players, particularly a player that's so important or was so important last season.
Yeah.
I think that because it just
I,
like it
I
just
don't.
came it came
To be honest, I don't think I can name 5 centre backs that were better than Inigo last season across the season.
debatable.
Yeah, I don't think
Mm,
I would name outrightly because again, that guy won all the trophies aside the Champions League. He was in the semi-final of the Champions League.
yeah. Again, I don't quite I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think it was very I think he was the leader in that back line. I think he was just a guy playing with kids,
Yeah,
playing with Kubasi, and to lose a guy of that stature and that importance to not just the club at this moment, but to even the team. And it just I think right now, but like I think Barca as an organization as a club should be so thankful for a manager like Hansi Flick. Because I think Flick has been because again, like there could be managers where you have and they've just instead of just because I think what has been brilliant about him outside the football he's playing is that he's just taking the punches and he's rolled with it. He's basically just accepted anything that's been put on his plate. Okay, this player's been injured. Okay, we'll find a solution. This player can't get signed. So this player can't get signed or registered. Okay, we'll find another solution. He's been taking hits after hits on and off the pitch, and he's just been rolling with it. Between Flick and La Masia, that's been Barca's saving grace this last couple of years. And as much as I would like to, I hope and pray for Barcelona's downfall. I know we need like European football needs a strong Barcelona. We need like the same way we need a strong Manchester United. You need a strong Chelsea in European football. You need a strong Barcelona. And this whole situation, as much as I enjoy it, I just think it's got to a point where I'm like, how does the club this big? Okay, I understand ending up in the situation, but how do you come out of this mess? And how does because just the season starts, I think La Liga season starts next week or a week
yeah,
after that.
yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
so the Premier League starts this week.
No, Premier
Yeah,
League is
so
next
it's
next
usually a
Friday.
week. It's usually a
A week
week
after.
after. It's usually a
Yeah.
week after, but
So
I'm not too sure if it's gonna start about the same because I know the league usually starts the week after the Jean pass. So I'll probably need to check it up.
so it's probably
I'm not
yeah,
very
so
sure.
so I think it's probably next week then. then because now, like I think just that departure alone, and like there are no guarantees if these players, Rashford, Garcia, can if that registration is guaranteed. I think the club find a way. They always find a way to
No,
just
I
put
think
that.
with Inigo out now, it's almost mathematically
It's almost
impossible
done.
for
Yeah,
him not to be registered because if you think about it, Ansu Fati left, that's some wage bill free up there, right? Pablo Torre left, right? And for example, we sold Pablo Torre for an unreported fee, but rumor has it that it's about 5 million euros or something of that peanut box like that. You don't sell
and
these
again,
players properly. Paul
you don't sell
Victor,
what again. Like
Paul,
you
Paul,
talked about Chelsea.
Mhm.
Like you talked about Chelsea, and like obviously we all know what Chelsea are. Chelsea are going crazy. I think at least with Chelsea signing a player every month. At the same time, Chelsea sell one or two players every. Sorry, Chelsea sign a player every week these days. At the same time, we also sell one or two every week as well for like
Yes, and
the
for
fees.
significant profit, significant
So
profit.
like we sold a guy Amanda Broya to Burnley for about 20 million plus add-ons and other clauses. But this guy hasn't started 5 league games in the last 3 years. So I don't. Again, people say whatever it is, but the facts are the facts. He's been sold for this amount. I don't know how, but he's been sold for that amount, and that's an academy player. You can just say, okay, you can book it as a pure profit for the whole accounting situation, and that's good for the club. But I don't like you see, Barca have a lot of talent. Like they have, like, I think very few clubs in world football have the talent pool Barcelona have. I'm talking about down to the academy, down to the unders. Like Barca can literally pull out a guy from the under 16s today in the first team, and they won't look out of place. In fact, they've literally
Absolutely.
done it. So it's like I find it's like you see, and I think because I think we've talked about this a lot. And I think Barca will need to make some sacrifices. I think particularly in midfield where I think you have a lot of players there that play the same positions, probably do the same thing. I think you might have to sell one of those guys just to even just get a bit of income and get a bit of headroom financially. But again, we'll see. Speaking of registration, I think this has been the story that has been given for the last. You can say for the last 4 months, it's been brewing the battle between this player and the club and the fan base it's been bubbling for a while now, and I think it's finally exploded in the last couple of weeks, and that's the Barca's former captain Ter Stegen. What do you make of this whole fracas?
The thing is again, just looking from the outside in, I don't I don't trust the leadership team, and this is my opinion. I don't trust
Okay,
them
yeah,
to
no,
be
of course,
transparent. I don't trust
your
them to be
thoughts,
yeah.
your
I don't
thoughts are your
trust,
thoughts, and yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I don't trust them to be transparent. And there are ample evidence to see this is the same guy who told us at the start of a certain season, "Oh, Messi is guaranteed gonna be with Barcelona next season," and blah, 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 blah,
Oh,
blah, blah, blah.
and by the way, this like funny how things as well. This is the 4 year anniversary of This week is the 4 year anniversary of Messi leaving Barcelona. I'll put that dagger in
Yeah, no,
a
very
bit.
nicely done, nicely done.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome.
So, so excuse me. So to tell you that we've been seeing this movie for 4 years, even if it were an annual released edition, it's only gotten better for every 4 years. It's always been a saga around Barcelona. Even last season, it was William. They gave us Nico
Yeah.
William for a whole season saga, and then this time they said to give it as a first part of the season transfer window saga, keeping Ter Stegen for the
Okay,
second.
that's yeah. The second is the like when you watch
Yeah,
the second is this is the season finale, the two parts season
exactly.
finale.
And right after the nonsense they did with Lionel Messi, I think there was another player that they that was in all of those drama. I think yeah. So after the Lionel Messi saga came Frankie De Jong. They did everything with Frankie De Jong. So it's just this track record to show that these guys can't even call a spade a spade. These guys, we
Okay.
don't take their white for white. We don't take their red for red. So, while I'm not saying Ter Stegen is absolutely innocent, from my opinion, again, sometimes they tell you that karma takes a while to come around. Sometimes karma is instant. Um, sometimes come out is instant. Yeah, yeah. For those that's that. Yeah, so that's why I say that sometimes because Ter Stegen literally did the same thing to Claudio Bravo. He says, "I want a guaranteed starting position, otherwise I will jump ship and go to a certain club in England." And Barcelona's hands were tied, and somehow Claudio Bravo had to move along. Right now, uh, fast forward maybe 10 years after.
Okay, okay, but can I just interject? But at that point in time, who do you, in your opinion, who do you think was the better goalkeeper at that point in time, Ter Stegen or Bravo? Because Bravo then went to Man City, and it didn't quite go well for him at Man City. I think he spent a year there, then a year at Man City, then he was sent back to Spain.
So
But
the
I think at that point, I think at that point in time, Ter Stegen was the better keeper then. Is that
so
fair
the
to
thing
say?
is this. The thing is this. At that point, Ter Stegen had a higher ceiling. He was the younger goalkeeper.
No, yeah, no,
Coming
no,
into
no,
the
no, no.
season, Claudio Bravo was the best keeper in Spain, and it's not easy to do that. Not playing for Barca or Real
No,
Madrid.
I know, no, 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 I know I think you're skating around it. Who, like, you, because of course you saw two of them up close for in the league and one in the Champions League. I can't remember how it was split. Who do you think was the better? Who do you think was the better goalkeeper at that point? Not
At
about
that
ceilings or not about, but
no,
like at that point.
at that point, it was a very close call. I would have been happy with either of them if I'm being very very frank. It would have
So
been like
okay, so
I would like because Claudio Bravo wasn't making blunders. Claudio Bravo was very
yeah,
assured.
it
He
was
was a
yeah,
great
it was
It was a great shot
showstopper,
stopper. It was like
pass out the ball and
yes, you wouldn't watch a game and say, "Oh, Claudio Bravo was the reason why Barca didn't achieve a
and
result."
I think Claudio Bravo was he was what Emi Martinez is right now, where he was amazing for I think it was amazing for the Chilean national team back to back Copa
Yes,
America. So I think that's fair. But do you think Barca made the right decision then to let go of
yes,
Bravo for Ter Stegen?
yes, retrospectively, yes, they made the best.
Okay.
They made the better decision to let go
So fast
of Ter
forward it
Stegen.
so far so fast forward it now where you have the same situation, not like for like, but you have basically the same thing. But it's just the only I think the difference here, or the main point here is Ter Stegen has more is a bigger player at Barcelona as a bigger player at Barcelona now than Bravo or he was back then. He's the club
That's
captain
correct.
up until recently. He's one of Barca's highest earners, but obviously he's a lot older now. He's had some injury problems, and it's safe to say his performances in the last few years have been subpar.
That's correct.
So,
So and for me,
s-
that's the big point to double click on, right? So now, if I watch Ter Stegen in goal for Barcelona. It's not, with all respect to Onana and United fans, it's not an Onana show where you look at it, like, hey, what's going on in this chaos? Or is this a circus going on? That's never been the case with Ter Stegen. But it's always that case of,
it's
if my keeper had
mm,
moved a second quicker, could he have done this? Is there a possibility that the keeper could save it in a second? Or it was just a moment of where he's reacting a couple of seconds slower than he should?
yeah.
You know that there's a better goalie in that person, but it wasn't being on like it wasn't being on exhibition at every single time he was on the pitch. Again,
Okay, 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 okay,
no
okay,
excuse.
okay.
This was the guy in goal for the 8-2 defeat. This was the guy in goal for a lot of the battering that has happened.
Yeah, and okay, no, no, but I think at that point, Barca were in that's Ronald Koeman era. Barca were in crisis. But also, it's also important to point out that in the 2020 and 2023 season, when Barca won the league title with Xavi as head coach, he had one of the best defensive records in European football, 18 goals conceded.
Yeah, and that is because of the
That's
back line. There was the back
yeah,
BACK.
yeah, that's true. But he gets
That
the
was
Golden
prime
Glove, or he
Balde,
gets the
prime. I mean, think about it. Think about it, right? The season after, where there was a little bit of a disruption in the back line for Barcelona, how many goals did Ter Stegen concede? It was raining goals.
okay.
It was the same guy. It was the same
Okay, so
guy.
I'm looking at the statistics now. So that season particularly, that was his highest save percentage as a goalkeeper ever. He had an 84% save percentage. And since then, it's been gradually dropping. Then the following season, once I finished second with I think Xavi leaves, that was Xavi's last season.
Mhm.
Save percentage was 75. 5%, 27 goals conceded. The last season where he starts eight La Liga games, 674 minutes. His save percentage was at 63%. So you can see this is a goalkeeper that was been slowly
And
not
to
at the
put
top
things,
level. Then he has a
yes,
top season, then he reverts back to his
yeah,
form,
no, even if you want to go
which I,
back
I think it's safe to
and
say,
let's go back on the statistics and do a little bit and go even 5 years ago, right? Go prior to Xavi becoming the head coach. Stegen wasn't the difference maker. Again, this is the good goalkeeper. This is in my opinion, a keeper that has proven that he's world class on his best day, right? But then with age, with injuries, with the slowdown in recovery, with all of those kind of things, even with personal issues, because again, he had personal issues around his marital situation, and etc. etc. This is not the Ter Stegen
yeah.
that Barca did everything that they could to sign and to make the number one goalkeeper. Now, could Barca have approached him a lot better? I would say yes. Could there have been an earlier conversation between the board and Ter Stegen's management and agency team? Probably yes. That is if that didn't happen. But however it is, I have never seen in my years of following football religiously and closely, I've never seen this fallout between a player and the club, let alone a captain of the club and the club. It's beyond a revolution, a revolt. This is you coming in and creating a
Yeah.
huge level of. I feel there could have been better ways to do it. There are lines you don't cross with your employer,
Yeah,
and as an employee, there are lines you don't cross as
no,
well.
okay.
You don't cross those lines.
I think it's important. No, okay, but I also think it's important to at this moment in time, because obviously we don't know the full story, we don't know what has been said behind the scenes, but from what we can piece together, I feel it's important to. I think blame can be put at both parties right now. I think both parties have
Absolutely.
not covered themselves in the best of light. But I think for me this comes down to one key point, and I think the big issue here is the fact that Barca want to replace Ter Stegen. That's a
Yeah.
fact. They've gone out
Yeah.
there. They've spent. I think that's the only player you've paid for this season, Joao Garcia. But at the same time, he's your club captain, one of your highest earners at the club. And from my point of view, I don't think it makes sense to, if he's not the first choice goalkeeper, you have to move him on, because you can't keep him on the bench because he's too expensive to keep on the bench, and he's too powerful in the club to have amongst the squad as a bench player, because we know he has a history of being very disruptive, not just at club level but even international level, and that's where the relationship with Hansi Flick comes in, because they were together at the German national team that had a terrible World Cup campaign in Qatar.
Yeah.
And if you believe what's the reports, he was one of the key figures behind the scenes that after that campaign unfolded, he tried to push blame towards the manager, because he felt the manager wasn't, or the manager should have made him number one, because at that point he felt he was a better goalkeeper than German legend Manuel Neuer. But back to Barca, you want to move him on, you have to move him on because it's too expensive. But he knows he's too expensive, and he knows what the club are trying to do. So he then he goes on this campaign to make it, because sometimes you see like there are situations where clubs try to move players on. Okay, they find a way, like the Aubameyang situation between Arsenal and Aubameyang, where okay, he's the club captain, the stripper of the captain band, you want to sell him, okay, you contact Barca. Okay, you know what? You can go to Barca for basically peanuts. They find a way to basically, I think they terminated his contract, or he just
Yeah.
went.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Barca paid him. I think it was about just but you
Barca
find
paid
a
is very
solution, that kind
little.
of solution. But
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, that very little fee, but they pick up large parts of his wages. I
That's
think
correct.
I think obviously Arsenal probably paid some of it out as well. I don't think Barca have that option right now where they can do, because I think that for me that's the logical solution. So both parties sit down before it has gone to this stage right now, where it's basically both parties have knives out. They're leaking to the press. They're putting out statements. I think before we got on air, he put out a lengthy statement that I didn't read. I'm not reading that. Congratulations, or sorry that happened to you.
No, the truth is this, right? With Stegen right now, he's probably has a lot of time to get into a career as a writer or a journal or any of those kind of journalists, like any of those kind of, because he'll be doing a lot of press releases going forward. And the reason is this: there's a huge bias already. It's been divided within the fan base for those who want him to stay for the things that he did at the earlier stages of his career as a Barcelona goalie, and the things that he had
Okay.
done in the later stages so far that has not been particularly impressive. So there've been that divide as to opinions with who Ter Stegen is as a professional footballer and who he is as a person that should be representing the club with a captain armband. So they've always been that division.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
because see, I'll tell you
no, no, no,
something.
no, no.
I'll tell you something, right? Believe it or not, Barcelona is an extremely sentimental club. Even though I feel like in recent
Of course,
times,
it's like
I feel like in recent times, the management has capitalized on it a bit unfairly to against some of these players to always kind of try to draw that socialism around the club and all of those kind of things just to get what they want. We've seen that happen time and time and time again. I mean, that is the only
yeah,
club in the
yeah,
world
I agree on that.
that's the only club in the world that would have a player of Lionel Messi's magnitude walk away, no significant revenue coming in. We literally sold Messi for nothing, nothing.
Yeah, this week 4 years ago.
Yeah, so for nothing, and we were bamboozled with conversations around. So it's only the club that can pull off this kind of shenanigans. And now we're here with Ter Stegen. Even if Ter Stegen goes at the point at the rate things are, we probably wouldn't even get a penny for him. We'll probably just be like, "Oh, you know what, hasta la vista, get going,
Yeah,
get the
you
wages
have to eat
off,
it. Yeah,
get the wages off." But but
because more
but but
than
but Chelsea could still get something out of Kepa. Chelsea could still get something out of Kepa, just for sample
well,
citation. So and this is Barcelona that we speak of. So when you don't clean up your business in-house, people will be out there to look at how to take advantage. And again, Ter Stegen is one of the many examples I can give you. Ousmane Dembele is another one. We sold Ousmane Dembele after all of those things for 50 million euros, of which maybe only 20 or 25 came to the club. Again, because of the nature of how to. Uh, it's okay. It's okay when you want to move players on. It's okay when you feel like a player is not part of the plan. But how do you coordinate this? And that is why I feel like the director of sports in Deco shouldn't be the guy there. I miss Amani so dearly in the last Mattia Aman
Macho, yeah,
Alaman. Yeah, I miss him so dearly because that was the guy responsible for bringing quality into the squad. We're talking of Kunde, we're talking of Lewandowski, we're talking of Rafinha, we're talking of even Inigo Martinez on the free.
yeah.
And we did not break the bank, and we had some of these deals structured better than we've ever had in the last 5, 6, 7 years.
It's yeah, because I
because
think even
because
the Deco appointments was a very
Deco is the guy responsible for getting us into Victor Roque deal. People are not talking about it. A club that was in financial distress went in from their coffers, paid 40 million, got Victor Roque, only to be lucky to just after 2 years of paying salary or they're about to just be lucky enough, or maybe a year of paying salary to just be lucky enough to sell him back to just balance the book. Who does that? So he came on excursion in Spain. It's just bonkers. Who does that?
no, yeah. I think it's tough. But again, like I said,
The only
I think
thing meaningful,
the
the only thing meaningful I can look at Deco's stint as director of sports in Barcelona is to look at it and say, okay, you know what, if indeed he was, because I feel Hansi Flick coming to Barca is because Hansi Flick wants to come to Barca, not because Deco and Porta and Laporta
yeah,
were able to convince him beyond. If Hansi Flick wanted to be anywhere else, they wouldn't have been able to bring him there. It's that simple, right?
yeah.
And now, in addition
That's
to
facts. That's
that,
facts. That's
yes,
facts.
in addition to that, you went to get us Chesney from a nice beach in Cancun or wherever I was drinking beer and having a cigar, and it played off. It played off. It was the kind of goalkeeper that we need. And And I already knew from the announcement of Hansi Flick into Barcelona that this tension between Hansi Flick and Ter Stegen is going to happen. I already knew. As a matter of fact, I
Yeah,
was anticipating this,
yeah.
but to this level of ugliness, I wasn't sure. So my noble
It
take on this
seemed
is
it,
my noble take on this is
okay.
that
So okay,
I'm
how do you see this ending then?
well, definitely not a happy ending, definitely, because the club is gonna have some scar. The goalkeeper, his legacy is at stake as a Barcelona supporter. I don't see Ter Stegen the same way that I used to see him. I don't see him as someone that can grab the mic and try to tell me anything convincing or tell me that he at any point placed the club's interest over his personal interest. And that is what Barcelona stands for. And I know as individuals, I know as professionals, we do have the right to choose ourselves first. I know that at the end of the day, for some of them, it's just a job, like every other person with a job. With Barcelona, it's become a culture.
Yeah,
It's become, for lack of better word, it's become a little bit of an extension to your family. It becomes like for you to function properly, you need to feel that bond with the fans. The fans need to feel that connection with you. And I think that has been the excuse me, that has been the premise for which Laporta and co have capitalized on these players and had them do things that were against their will. So I think there need to be a balance. I think it's okay for players to speak up, but I don't also think that you should cross certain lines. You don't cross certain lines as a professional, and Ter Stegen crossed all of those lines. All of those lines. He disrespected the fans. He disrespected
yeah. No,
what we stand for. He, if nothing else, people could have been sitting in a limbo as to whether or not it's right, but for the fact that we know at the back of our hearts, regardless of whatever statement the club would come up and put in the next couple of hours with regards to the sales of Inigo, but we know that this is the reason why. This is the reason why, and that has put a club whose Achilles heel was already in his defense. This is literally taking the feet off.
okay, okay. That's okay. Well, long may continue. That's all we are to it because it's very. It's been it's been the events that's been keeping me entertained this past week. So I think we'll call it a day for today, and I think I look forward to talking about the next episode of Keeping Up with Barcelona with you, and what's next week has to unfold because I know it's going to get a lot. It's going to get a lot spicy and quite toxic the next few days. So I look forward to talking to you about that. But as always, thank you for joining me today. Yeah, yeah. Go fund me. Go fund me. Should we set up? Should we set up? Should we set up? No, no, no. No, you're cutting me off. Should we set up a GoFundMe page for Barcelona? Oh, okay, okay, that's good. That's good. Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. That's I think that's another episode of Football Explanation done. And so our listeners, viewers, thank you for the likes, shares, comments, and all that. If you like this video, keep liking, sharing the videos, leaving comments on our social pages, on the YouTube page as well, so we can help continue grow this. So that helps continue to grow this page, and we appreciate all the efforts that everyone has put in so far. So again, thank you for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.